everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Molly Knits, where we talk about knitting and yarn related content, and today we're going to be doing a knitting needle review. This is Chiaogoo knitting needles. Let's get started. First of all, the first thing that I want to say is that this video is not sponsored by Chiaogoo. There is nothing in this video that I have been gifted. I have purchased this all with my own money, and these are my honest reviews and honest opinions. So first off, let's start with the stainless steel set. So the first set of needles that I purchased from Chiaogoo are the stainless steel knitting needle set. This is the complete set in the size 5-inch. They go from a 2.75 millimeter all the way up to 10 millimeter. They come in these gorgeous stainless steel. They come in this gorgeous stainless steel. They're really lightweight. They're extremely durable, and they fit in my hands perfectly. I love the 5-inch. I couldn't literally do without the 5-inch. I know that there's a 4-inch version as well. But the thing that I love about the Chiaogoo knitting needles is literally that they are seamless. So the seamlessness that I'm talking about is the difference between the end of this tip and the seam to the cables. I will get to that in just a sec. This set comes with one set of each individual knitting needles. This is not the bag that they come in, by the way. They come in like a separate bag, which you can see online. This is actually a Twig and Horn interchangeable needle case, but I store all mine in here. So because of that, they come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They come with 11 needles. I actually have 12 needles in here. I purchased the 7mm needle separately because I needed that for a specific project, but the 7mm needles do not come with the set. So that's just me that I've purchased separately. It comes with these little T-pins. These T-pins are for tightening the cables. And then obviously it comes with a little set of additional purchased products. In this little bag, you've got your T-pins, you've got your stoppers for your cables, and you've got a heap of different stitch markers. I don't personally use these stitch markers because they come with, they don't unjoin when you're using them. You have to wait till you get to that part of the knitting needle, like of your stitch, before you can take the join off. But so I don't actually use them, but I just keep them to the side. They also come with cable connectors so that your cables are able to then be attached to make longer cables. They come with a 35-inch, a 55-inch, and a 75-inch cable. So that is these cables here. These are stainless steel cables covered in plastic. So they are very flexible, and they're memory-free cables. So I always store my cables in the top of my knitting needle set like this. And as you can see, when you open them, there is no memory. They don't kink, they don't sit there, and they don't do anything like that. So these are awesome. When you connect the needles to the joins, which as I said before are seamless, you will be given the opportunity to have there's little holes. There's little holes on the needles which you can use the T-pins to tighten them. They're this brushed stainless steel. They've got these engraved, laser engraved on the cords and onto the needles the name of their Chiaogoo, and they have also the name of the needle that you're using in both inches and in millimeters. So you can use US size 10, or this one is a US 10.5, which is a 7mm. As I said before, this is not included in the set. But when I talk about that seamless join, I'm talking about the fact that the stitches do not hitch onto the corner of the cable and get stuck when you're pulling them through. And so I use these for magic loop all the time, and I never have any issues at all. So the cables come in different lengths. As I said before, you can purchase cables separately. The separate cable that I have purchased is this one. This is a size large in the 125 centimeter. So this is massive. I was using this for a shawl. I think they come to about, I think they're about 20 Australian dollars. So when I purchased this from my local yarn store, I think it was $18.70 just for the cable. The actual set itself was $287, so it's a bit on the pricey side. When you look at Chiaogoo, you can see that they are absolutely seamless, and that the joins and the craftsmanship of the Chiaogoo needles and the Chiaogoo cables are absolutely amazing. Like, you can have a look at these, you can see how insane the cables are. Now, what I need to talk about is the fact that when you look online, you will come across 3 different listings for the Chiaogoo needles. So if you're looking for a set of Chiaogoo needles in the 5mm, in the 5-inch or the 4-inch, you will come across 3 listings. The first listing will be for the complete set. The complete set is what I've shown you today. That is the 2.75mm all the way up to the 10mm. You will then see a set called small. The small is a half set of needles that is from the 2.5mm to the 5.5mm, and they use a different set of cables to the large set. The large set is the 3rd set that you will see online, and that is from the 5.5mm all the way up to the 10mm. There are people that never ever knit small circumference knitting and need those small needles, so they would just buy the large set. And then there are people out there that will never ever use anything above a 5mm needle, and they will buy the small set. But for me, I use all of them, and therefore I bought the complete set. It is a bit confusing because sometimes you will get your 7mm needle out and you will get out a set of small cables, and you will try to put them together and they will not work. So you are constantly having to have a look at the cables to see if it says S or L on it to make sure that you have the right cable. There is a way around this. There is a little trick that you can do. Chiaogoo actually sell converters. I didn't know about this. They're about 5 Australian dollars for 2, but you can actually buy a converter that you can connect to your small cable, and it will allow you to use it on your large cable, on your large needles, sorry. So the converters are just a tiny little screw. I will just get them for you and I will show you. I'm pretty sure that they're in here. Yes, here we go. 1 second. Bag is not opening. Okay, so, all right, so this is a converter. So this is a converter because it goes into the small cable and it allows you to use the large needles. If you purchase one of the sets, the small set, and then decide to buy a few large needles, you do not need to go out and buy the large set of cables. You can buy these converters and they should get you through enough to be able to use this. That is my opinion. I think that's the easiest way. This is not a brand of knitted needles that you can just buy on a whim. I mean, if you've got lots of money, you probably can. They are expensive and they are an investment and they will last you forever. These are one of those buy it once, buy it right type of products. Don't go out and buy some cheap Amazon knitting needles unless you literally cannot afford anything else. Like, I would suggest buy it once and buy it right with the Chiaogoo, and you will never have an issue. They have a lifetime warranty. If you have any problems, you can send it back to them and you can purchase another one and they will give it to you for free. I've had a problem where I had the Chiaogoo Mini, which I'm about to go to in a second, and the cable broke. The little bit at the end, it's very tiny, absolutely very, very tiny. Came off, I sent it back to Chiaogoo, they just sent me a replacement straight away. There was no issues. They are fantastic. Their customer service is top notch, and I would not recommend any other knitting needle set to anybody else. I've tried a lot of different knitting needle sets in my knitting career, and this is by far my favorite. And as you can see, I have so many sets of Chiaogoo needles that is literally ridiculous. So that's the first set. There is another 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of Chiaogoo needles that I'm going to show you today. So I'll get on to the next one. So the next Chiaogoo knitting needle set that I have for you, and I'll timestamp these below too because I think people will be really interested to see what types of Chiaogoo needles are out there. I have invested a lot of them, and right now those ones are about $250, $350, $400, $550, probably $700 worth of needles in this video. That's a lot of money to spend on one consumer product, but it's 100% worth it, trust me. So the second set of Chiaogoo needles that I'm going to show you today are the Chiaogoo minis. Chiaogoo sell mini knitting needles. They are your knitting needles below what comes in your set. So you start with a 7.25. You start with a 2.75 in the set. These go 2.5 and they go all the way down to 1.5. So if you're watching from the US, that is a 1.5 to a 000. These are perfect for sock knitting. I use these for sock knitting. I magic loop these. I don't use anything else. I used to buy the 9-inch circulars by themselves. I found that it was a waste of money to continue to purchase multiple sets of fixed circulars when I can just buy the needles and then buy the interchangeable ones. I even got to the point where this is a set. I actually have another 2.5 millimeter needle in this on my sock needles at the moment. So the reason why I have that is because they are honestly like my favorite needles to use for socks besides my red shorties. My red shorties are also my favorite to use. I use them for my knitting in the round, but basically these are what come with it. In the set, it's $110. You also are going to be receiving a few little notions like I showed you before with the end stoppers, some T-pins, really small T-pins. As you can see in this bag, in the corner of this bag, there's actually some cable connectors for the minis as well. And the only annoying thing is that it comes with a second set of mini cables. So these cables are the mini set of cables which you would then have to use for the smaller needles. So just to recap, you have mini, small and large cables, and there's also another set of cables that you will need to use for the twist shorties in the blue, which is the extra flex cable. So a bit of organizing needs to be done. If you are a person that does not like to organize, are you a person that just kind of throws everything in your bag, then it's probably not going to be the best set for you, because I think at the end of the day, you're going to have stuff everywhere and you're probably going to get frustrated and you're probably going to be like, hey, I don't like this. For me, I have an organized system. As I said, I have the Twig and Horn needle case. It's perfect because it's got these this big long strap at the top. The strap at the top keeps all of my needles and the cables in place, so I just keep the small cables on one side and the large cables on the other side, so that I can make sure that, like, I go, oh, the 2.75s at this end, that means that the small cables are at that end. And the large cables are at the other end, which is really good. And then in the middle piece, I just keep literally my mini set of needles. And I keep my cables in all there organized. It's literally just fold it, chuck it. And I would really 100% recommend this case. This is canvas in the color clay. I absolutely love this case. I was looking for ages and ages for a knitting needle case that would be perfect for this. Again, this case is a little bit more on the pricey side. This is 110 Australian dollars. I think that's about 80 US. Twig and Horn is a US based company, so for me to be actually able to purchase it and send it to Australia, it was quite expensive. I received this as a birthday gift, along with a lot of the other needles that I have. I also received as birthday gifts. They were very generous, my family. But saying that, worth every penny, durable, nice, gorgeous looking case, and it fits the Chiaogoo needles in it, which is the main thing. Fits in here. All right, so the second set that I have, you've got mini, small and large. And now we're going to go into our really, really, really small set, which is our Chiaogoo shorties. So Chiaogoo decided that when people wanted to knit socks, they were kind of had the option of using your double pointed needles or your magic loop method. So they came out with a 9-inch circular. So that is a 2-inch needle or a 3-inch needle on a 5-inch cable. So for me, that means that these little twist minis in here, we have a really, really small cable when you can connect your 2 little needles to, and then you're able to then use those needles to knit a very, 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 very small circumference. Baby sleeves, newborn hats, sleeves on jumpers, cuffs on jumpers, and of course, socks. So for us, this was a godsend. I was like, oh my gosh, I need this. These are very expensive. You will receive 20 needles, and to believe it or not, this is the whole set. There is a set of 3-inch needles up the top and a set of 2-inch needles down the bottom. And then you've obviously got your cables. So you get a 5-inch cable, a 6-inch cable, and an 8-inch cable. In the mini set, you will receive your 5-inch, 6-inch, and I think 8-inch cable in your, that's correct, 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch cable in your small diameter of the needles. There's a little trick that I do for when I'm knitting. So I'll just show you my current socks. These are the current socks that are on the magic loop for the mini set. So just magic loop the needle that I have an 85 centimeter cable on this sock, and that's just because I want super long socks, super long cables for my magic loop method. This cable is not included in the set. I purchased this extra as I said, I went to my local yarn store. They gave me the 32-inch cable, and I was able to then go ahead and magic loop easy with this cable, which I love. But getting back to the socks, so at the moment I'm doing the heel on my socks, which is in the colorway Orion by the brand Hedgehog Fibers. I'm using the 13 centimeter or 5-inch cable, and I have a 2-inch on one side and a 3-inch on the other side. And the reason why I do this is because it gives me more grip on my right hand, because I'm a thrower in English method. It gives me more grip on my right hand to be able to then go into the sock and pull the needle off. That is a little trick. You do not have to use both 2-inch and both 3-inch at the same time. You do not have to use the same inch at the same time. You can use a 2-inch and a 3-inch, and I did not learn that until a couple of months ago. Life changing, seriously. The Chiaogoo red set is the 2.00 millimeter, the 2 millimeters up to the 3.25 millimeter, and the Chiaogoo blue set, which is these ones, are the 3.5 millimeter to the 5 millimeter. Now, what I predominantly use the blue shorties for is hats and sleeves. They are the perfect size for hats and sleeves in working the round. I recently, on my previous podcast episode, showed you guys a hat, the Molten Falls hat by Kay Hopkins, and that was using the 4 millimeter needle on the 8-inch circulars for the hat. Now, what I did do for these ones was these come with the blue extra flex cables. They have blue extra flex cables in the 13 centimeters, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters of 5, 6 and 8 inches. And obviously that's going to be too small for a standard hat. So I used the connector, and I connected the 8-inch to the 5-inch, which gave me a 33 centimeter circumference, which then allowed me to connect and use the small needles for the hat. It works perfectly. The joins in between, which I'll show you because it's still actually attached. So the join that's in between this one, as you can see, it's a little bit longer because it's got it's attached to the it's not focusing. That's my dog barking. Because it's attached to the cable, but this join in between was fine. Like, I used a 8-ply needle an 8-ply needle. I used an 8-ply yarn, Bendigo woolen mill in the tweed color, and it was fine. There was no issues with that. Back start. Sorry. There was no issues with that. It went over the top of the needles, and there was no problems with the stitches getting stuck or anything like that. So I would 100% recommend these if you're going to be knitting hats, if you want to knit sleeves in a higher yarn gauge. If your yarn is 8-ply or higher, these are fantastic. There's not really anything that I can say that I dislike about the Chiaogoo. I suppose the thing that I do dislike the most is the price and the availability of the products within Australia. So Chiaogoo is normally imported into Australia from the US. It is actually made in China. The price is pretty expensive. As I said before, all of the needles that I have are calculated together about 700 Australian dollars for all the sets, and I still haven't showed you the additional set that I have here, and they are pretty expensive. They do come in bamboo. The twist bamboo set is probably a little bit cheaper than the sets that I've shown you, because obviously stainless steel is harder to manufacture than bamboo. But yeah, as I said, for king free cords and the availability is it's hard to get here, and it's expensive. One of the other things that I have, the Chiaogoo, is I've actually bought a set of Chiaogoo DPNs. You're probably thinking, Molly, why do you have Chiaogoo DPNs when you have the shorty set? Well, that's a good question, because my Chiaogoo DPNs that I purchased are actually purchased before I got the 9-inch circular needles. So these Chiaogoo DPNs are bamboo. They start at a 2.25 millimeter and they go up to a 3.25 millimeter needle. There's 5 of them. They literally just remind me of skewers. I don't really like using them. I'm not a fan of DPNs. I feel like I can pretty much get away with magic loop, and I can pretty much get away with 9-inch circulars for everything that I do. There's never ever been a time that I've ever had to go, oh, this is a period where I have to use DPNs. I suppose maybe when I'm doing a really small mitten finger at the tip and I need to use DPNs, I just never ever use them. To be honest, they probably shouldn't even be in my knitting bag. Like, I just really don't use them. And when I bought them, I thought I'll get the bamboo because then they won't slip off. The needles won't slip off as much. So the stitches won't slip off the needles as much, because that, you know, bamboo's grippier. You know, you're a beginner, bamboo's grippier. But to be honest, I kind of feel like they're a little bit overpriced for what they are. You're basically getting 5 sets of 5 what look like skewers, to be honest. It's kind of a bit shit, and you're paying $90. So that's expensive for me. Like, I wouldn't go out and buy the wooden DPNs again, especially not now that I know how to use the 9-inch circulars and the magic loop. I definitely wouldn't go out and buy them again. I never ever use them. I think if I was going to rebuy them though, I'd definitely buy stainless steel. I just think bamboo is so fragile and it's so easy to break that it's just kind of a bit of a money grab. So that's one thing I don't like about the Chiaogoo, is their bamboo needles for their double pointed needles is just not, they're just not the quality that you see in the stainless steel sets. If you're out there and you have used the stainless steel Chiaogoos and you think that they really are good quality like the rest of their needles, which I have no doubt that they are, put a comment in the description below. Put a comment down below and I'll be able to probably grab a set of those and then try them out. But I suppose at this point I don't really see a need for them. I think that it is a yeah, as I said before, a bit of a money grab. Like, if you've got the 2 sets of the Chiaogoo in the minis, ranging from your 2 mils to your 5 mils, I really don't see how you would need them. I use magic loop on my socks, as I showed you before. I've been using the 9-inch circulars. For the $90 that I paid, I wouldn't buy them again. There's been some good Australian suppliers that I'll shout out to now where I bought my products from. www.knitting.co is where I purchased my small red shorty set. my large blue shorty set and my complete set I purchased from Yarns on Paco, so www.yarnsonpackington.com.au. They were really helpful. And then obviously I've purchased my bamboo needles from Skein Sisters, which is a shop in Sydney. So I bought all of these pretty much. I just want to show you my dog because he's really cute. This is my sausage dog Baxter, and just while I'm filming this, look at him, he's asleep. It's hot. It's about 32 degrees in Australia today in Celsius, not in Fahrenheit, so it's very hot and he's very hot, so he's wanting to have like a little bit of a nap. I suppose the other thing to note with the Chiaogoo, especially in the shorty sets, in the 2 shorty sets that I've showed you, is that Chiaogoo are having a lot of problems at the moment with counterfeit Chiaogoos from Amazon, only from Amazon and only from suppliers from Amazon. So I would suggest that if you're going to go and buy Chiaogoo needles, please don't buy them from Amazon. I know that's a really hard sell because some of you might not be able to buy them from anywhere else, but go onto the Chiaogoo website, find a supplier near you that sells Chiaogoo and pay the proper price, because buying Chiaogoo from Amazon, even if it's $10, $15, $20 cheaper, you could most likely come across a counterfeit set of needles. And there's a few things on the Chiaogoo website. They will tell you how to know if your Chiaogoos are counterfeit and if you have counterfeit needles. Mine are definitely new. I don't have any counterfeit needles. At the moment, it's only affecting the 2 sets of shorties, not the stainless steel complete set, not the DPNs, and not the mini set, only the shorties. If you're finding that your Chiaogoo needles don't have that seamless join, if you find that the hole where you put your T-pin in to tighten it is not finished or doesn't have a hole at all, then you're going to probably find that your Chiaogoos are counterfeit. If your cables are not memory free, counterfeit. If you're having these problems and you've bought from a reputable dealer, you'll be able to go back to that dealer and you'll be able to get a refund. If you bought them from Amazon, get a refund as soon as you possibly can. Like, there's nothing else that I can say except get a refund. Try and get your money back. If you know that you have a counterfeit set of Chiaogoo needles, try and get your money back. The one thing that I will comment on though, that I did say before with the not having the T-pin hole, some of the sets of the blue shorties don't actually have a T-pin hole. On the 3-inch, they only have them on the 2-inch in the blue set, so that's okay. It is only if you're finding that they're unfinished, if they're rough to the touch. The other thing that you'll notice is that the laser engraving that you can see on these needles, that laser engraving is not seamless on the counterfeit ones, as in it's not, you can feel it, it's rough. That's not how Chiaogoo make their needles. They are not rough anywhere. They are always pristine. So if you do come across maybe one needle in your set that's a bit rough and you bought it from the knitting store, take it back. They'll send it to Chiaogoo. They'll probably give you a refund. Sometimes they do have issues with manufacturing, but if all of your needles are the same, you probably got a counterfeit set. And if you bought it from Amazon, you probably got a counterfeit set. So go back, get your money back, and then go to a knitting store, go online, try and find it from somebody else that's reputable. And you know, Chiaogoo have all this information on their website, so you can just scroll down to the bottom of the page. They have a counterfeit section and you can review all of the things that say that the needles are counterfeit. I feel really bad because I feel like, you know, you're spending a lot of money. You know, 145 Australian dollars for this tiny little set of needles is a lot of money for you to then go and it be counterfeit. And I mean, that would just break my heart if I knew any of mine were counterfeit. But I bought them in store, I bought them in person, or I bought them from a reputable dealer from the Chiaogoo website that says they sell them. So go ahead, have a look. Let me know in the comments below if you got a counterfeit set of needles, because that would be terrible. And let me know how you figured it out as well. So if you got a counterfeit set of needles, let me know. That's all I have for you today. That is my honest and personal review of the Chiaogoo needles in all the sets. I will link in the description below where I bought my needles from. and the reputable dealers that you can purchase them from. If you're in the US and you bought them from Amazon and you got a counterfeit, let me know. I'd really be interested in seeing what they look like compared to a proper set, and who you bought them from. So thanks everybody for watching my video, and if you have any questions below or you want to know more about Chiaogoo, just shoot me a message and I'll see if I can help you. See ya. Bye.